Last week, the county lost a great public servant, and unfortunately, only the latest public employee that we've lost due to the COVID pandemic. Blanca Kling was more than a Latino liaison for the Montgomery County Police Department. She was a pillar in the county, particularly in the Latino community. As the liaison for MCPD, Blanca kept the Spanish-speaking community informed and up to date on public safety issues and community resources. She became a trusted and well-known public official who was always willing to assist others. I saw her commitment to our residents up close in the way she responded immediately to the tragic fatal explosion in my neighborhood at the Flower Branch Apartments. Without any hesitation, she made herself available to the victims and the tenants of Flower Branch. Not only did she help connect the tenants to resources, she helped tenants organize funerals. And in fact, for one of the funerals at St. Camillus, she took care of the logistics and allowed the family to mourn. At the end of the day, she was always there for tenants in their greatest moment of need and vulnerability. That was only the one example that I saw up close that really stuck with me of her long track record of public service and a lifetime of dedication to county government and to our constituents. So I want to express my condolences to Blanca's family, friends, and colleagues. She will be greatly missed. And let me turn it over to Councilmember Nancy Navarro, who suggested this recognition this morning. Councilmember Navarro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, first I want to welcome Jason and Lizzie, Blanquita's beautiful children that she was so extraordinarily proud of. And I want to say that today we are not accompanied by Councilmember Albornoz because he's also has a unfortunate loss in his family, his beloved grandmother, Abuelita, but he does have a recorded greeting. But we are also joined by County Executive Mark Elridge, Police Department's Chief Marcus Jones, who would also be providing some remarks. Let me just say that, Blanquita was, as I always refer to her, she was this little giant. She was an extraordinary force here in Montgomery County, who for over 40 years provided extraordinary service to Montgomery County government, to all of our residents. But she was very particular about mentoring, about guiding, about connecting people. She had this way of constantly giving back through her extraordinarily generous spirit, but with a kindness that was unparalleled. Yet she was, very convincing when she needed to be convincing, because it was always about making this community better. And she understood that, especially for many immigrants, there was so much to navigate. And so her work, even though, officially was to be the portavoz, the spokesperson for the police department, in reality, she was a community builder, and she was there to provide this bridge to our immigrant community, to our Latino community, mentoring young professionals, making sure that those who were struggling understood and knew what services to access. She is literally, I think, a major protagonist of the strength of our Latino community, our immigrant community, and in general, Montgomery County as a whole. And I think it's still, for me, really hard to process the fact that she's no longer with us physically. But I know that she will continue to be there in spirit to guide this extraordinary county. She was amazingly excited to be a grandma. And, we actually ran into each other out in the community when the twin boys had just been born. And she was just so excited and, showed me photos, et cetera. And it was just extraordinary. And I think that was about a year ago, roughly, that we ran into each other. And she showed me that, and she was so happy. And so I know that this, loss, just like so many losses that we are on a daily basis having to confront due to this horrible virus. Lizzie and Jason, I know how tough this has to be for you. But I just want you to know that her legacy, her strength, her example lives on, especially in the hearts and in the commitment of so many, especially young Latino women, who looked up to Blanquita, who always wanted to emulate what she represented. So please note that her spirit lives on in that way. Let me turn it now. I believe Councilmember Albornoz, who, like I said, my condolences also to his family. He wasn't able to be here because of a personal loss as well, another matriarch. But I believe that we have a recorded message from Councilmember Albornoz.
Hello, friends. I am so sorry that I can't be there live with all of you. I am attending the funeral services for my grandmother, Guadalupe Albornoz, who passed away over the weekend. But I did not want to miss the opportunity to lend my voice with the thousands of other people across our community who have showed their outpouring of love and support for Blanca Kling and her family. You know, Mother Teresa once said, spread love everywhere you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. Everyone that came into contact with Blanquita left happier. Her loving smile and heart of gold was really radiant, and she performed miracles for anyone who crossed her path and made sure families in need felt loved through her acts of kindness and compassion. Blanquita started her career in public service here in Montgomery County by working at the test center, where she helped countless numbers of immigrants in our communities connect to housing and find employment and help navigate the very challenging bureaucracy that we have here in our community. And her work with the Montgomery County Police Department was nothing short of groundbreaking. She was a trailblazer that established trust in the community and built bridges and connections that have lasted through generations. She has positively impacted the lives of countless numbers of people, both that she met and people that she never had the opportunity to meet across our entire community. And on a personal level, I had the opportunity to work with Blanca when I was the director of the recreation department on National Night Out and a number of other projects to help better engage our communities across the entire county. She taught me so much about authentic leadership, about the ability to connect in ways that, again, are meaningful and that really break through. So she will be sorely missed, and her legacy will outlast all of us. Quiero dar las gracias a Blanca por todo lo que ha hecho para nuestra comunidad. Fue un verdadero líder, y quiero dar las gracias a su familia también para Blanca, para todo lo que han hecho ustedes para nuestra comunidad. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I think now we're going to hear from County Executive Mark Elridge.
Thank you for doing this and inviting me to join you today. I knew Blanca back from the days of Long Branch in the test center. And, you know, the test center was one of the first efforts the county made to provide community outreach and services into the Latino community. And that community around Long Branch, around Rolling Terrace where I taught school, was one of the communities that transformed fastest in the county. And the services there were really, really important to people. And I knew Blanca as somebody who just was tirelessly devoted to serving the community, always in good spirit, but always very intentional and always very purposeful. She really cared about people, and she was determined to make sure that her life was meaningful and that she provided service and that she made people, gave them the opportunity for better lives. And that was my introduction to her. And, you know, she grew up or developed inside the county system. She played an important role as a liaison in the police department. I saw her at many meetings, always gracious, always helpful, not just a problem solver, but also a facilitator. She was somebody who could bring people together to talk. And so I always appreciated the role she played. And, you know, Tom talks about the tragic apartment explosion in Long Branch, and she just threw herself into that. It was as if she was going to exert superhuman powers to make sure that the people there got taken care of, that their needs got addressed. I mean, I thought she saw the overwhelming crisis that had been brought to so many families, and she was just wholly determined that there would not be anything that she wouldn't do to try to help those folks in that community. So I really appreciated her. She was always kind, and she not only will be, but she's being missed already. I mean, her voice and her gentleness, I think, are a real loss to all of us. So my condolences to the family. I know how much you miss her, and far more than any of us will ever know. But we want you to know that she was important to us too. She really exemplified the kind of caring, motivated, loving person that makes public service its very best, and she was among the very best. So I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Chief Jones.
Good morning, and thank you all for allowing me to share some words about the Queen, Miss Blanca Kling, who was near and dear to our hearts here with Montgomery County Police. So I want to thank the County Council, led by President Hucker and Council Member Navarro and Council Member Albanaz and the County Executive for this joint proclamation recognizing the life and the legacy of Blanca Kling. Blanca was she was a steadfast, and really though small in stature, she was very large walking through the halls of police headquarters or any police facility. As you know, we all knew who she was and what she brought to the table. Her work in the Public Information Office for the past 15 years, and her overall work for the past 40 years to this police department is a legacy that Jason and Lizzie, and I know the whole family, is very proud of, and you should be. We are still in pain, as I know you all are, the loss of your mother. And Blanca, to this community, she was just steadfast in so many ways. With her liaisoning efforts with the Hispanic media, she just always had a vision to know what was happening in the community. And she always, public safety in her role, she always made sure that the subject matter experts were either on a television show or the radio. She grabbed me many times and always had a vision about what the message, what needed to get out, what the community needed to hear, and how they needed to hear it. And she played that liaison role well, but she played that motherly figure well as well, because she was a mother figure to many of our employees here, and mentored them in so many ways, and showing her love and her forgiveness and all of that for our community. And so many times she was even assisting our investigators with cases as time went on. And I'll just leave on this note that I received so many messages from even our retired officers who worked with Blanca over the years and knew that the impact that she had. And so again, her legacy will live on. We will make sure that Blanca is never forgotten for what she did and has done for Montgomery County in so many facets, but also for the police department to help us to liaison with the Hispanic community, which was always greatly needed. And she set the tone. She developed the template for anybody that comes behind to be able to know how it needs to be done. So God bless you all. And again, we're sorry for your loss. Thank you.
Esta proclamación es un homenaje a nuestra querida Blanquita Kling. Sabemos que ella es nuestra pequeña gigante y que por más de 40 años ella, con su generosidad, ha ayudado a miles y miles de personas aquí en el condado de Montgomery, no solamente en su capacidad trabajando como un enlace para el departamento policial, sino dando mucho consejo, mucho apoyo, mucha ayuda, mucho aliento a tantos en los momentos más críticos. Y pues Blanquita la perdimos por este terrible virus, como hay tantos que están en este momento sufriendo, pero sabemos que su legado tiene que seguir, porque como dijo En este momento, el jefe del departamento policial, ella deja un esquema para todos nosotros, para seguir adelante y para seguir ayudando a nuestra comunidad. Y queremos, obviamente, expresar de nuevo nuestro más sentido pésame a Jason y a Lizzie, sus adorados hijos, que tanto la van a extrañar. Pero yo quiero que ellos también sepan que vamos a seguir haciendo todo lo posible por hacerle honra a su legado y asegurarnos de que ese tipo de servicio, ese tipo de dedicación continúe, sobre todo en un condado donde está creciendo tanto nuestra comunidad latina. Así que vamos a leer una proclamación en honor a Blanca Kling. So we will start the proclamation, Council President. I'll kick it off. For the past 40 years, Blanca Kling served Montgomery County residents with great honor and distinction as the media spokesperson, community leader, and victims' rights advocate. Born in Bolivia, Blanquita, as she was often referred to by many in our community, had a long track record of public service and a lifetime of dedication to county government and our constituents.
Whereas in 1980, Blanca began her public service career with the Montgomery County Police Department as a victim specialist in the 4th District, located in Wheaton, Maryland. In 2005, she continued her selfless advocacy to county residents when she transferred to the department's Community Engagement Division as the Hispanic liaison in the Public Information Division.
Whereas through her selfless compassion for others, she became a pillar in the Latino community where she would often appear in front of television cameras and radio airwaves to inform, forge authentic relationships, and build bridges of collaboration between our Spanish-speaking constituents and our police force. No matter how challenging the constituent need was, Blanca relied on her deep faith to move mountains for those less fortunate or in deep despair.
And whereas in 2016, Blanca was nominated by then U.S. Congressman Chris Van Hollen to receive the Suzanne McDaniel Memorial Award for Public Awareness by the U.S. Congressional Victims' Rights Caucus. This award is bestowed to individuals and organizations that have used their voice through the media to promote change for victims of crimes. Her unwavering service established valuable partnerships and initiatives and gave a voice to the needs of the Latino community.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby honors the lifetime service of Blanca Kling for her unwavering commitment to Montgomery County residents and whose vision of inclusion and deep connection enriched our county in immeasurable ways. Presented the 2nd day of February in the year 2021, signed by Council President Hucker, Council Vice President Albornoz, and Councilmember Navarro. And now I'd like to hear from Jason or Lizzie, any remarks that you'd like to share with us?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. First off, thank you to Councilmember Navarro, Council Vice President Albornoz, President Hucker, and other members of the council, County Executive Ehrlich, and Chief Jones for this time. On behalf of my family, I would like to thank you all for honoring our beloved mother with this well-deserved proclamation. While we are struggling to cope with the shock and pain over this tremendous loss, I am honored to be able to share these brief remarks because her life, I believe, deserves to be recognized, studied, and celebrated. My mother, Blanca Kling, immigrated to this area from La Paz, Bolivia when she was 17. The youngest and smallest, but perhaps boldest of 4 siblings, she overcame many odds. When she came to this country, she was intimidated. She missed her country, her family, and was averse to learning English, many issues that our immigrants face today. Instead of returning to her country, she decided to survive, overcome, and adapt. She eventually committed herself to serving others, but she always faced challenges, barriers, unequal treatment, painful health issues. It was never easy for my mother. She lived and taught us these important values: justice, faith, joy, humility, courage, love of her culture, unconditional love, and faith in God. I was witness to her providing social services, working at the test center in Tacoma Park, victim assistance for survivors of domestic violence and other crimes in Wheaton, and as her proudest moment, the Hispanic liaison for the police, and working with media outlets in the community. For 15 years, my mother brokered essential relationships between the Latino community and the police. We're so proud of her for standing so tall in this time making such an impact in this important role. In times like the sniper crisis, the apartment explosions in Flower Branch, and the harassment of Latino residents in Wheaton, she was tireless and she shined brightest when her county was in need and her community was in need. She introduced my sister and I to coworkers, friends, clients, and community partners with such joy because she loved to serve others, serve God. She was loved and adored here in Montgomery County for who she was, for how she treated others, and she was respected fiercely for how she advocated for the most vulnerable every day, long into her off-duty time. Through her work, she taught my sister and I the value of serving the Latino community, how love can overcome pain, and how bringing people of different positions together is more important than ever for the good of the community. We share in grief with her colleagues and members of the Latino community. Compartimos el dolor con toda la gente de la comunidad que ha querido a mi mamá. We feel her loss has sent shockwaves through the community because tens of thousands of people feel like they lost someone very important to them. And that is because with as little as 5 minutes, one-on-one, my mother could connect deeply with you. A special thank you goes to Chief Jones, Chief Didone, Captain Flynn, and the Public Information Division of Montgomery County Police for the presence and duty honors that they showed my mother on the day of her memorial services. She is smiling down on above, and my family is forever grateful. Moving forward, my sister Lizzie and I hope to work alongside many of you to continue to honor my mother's legacy, and I pray she will guide us from above, that we will find the strength to be equal to the task. Thank you again for this proclamation to honor my mother's 40+ years of tireless service for Montgomery County.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Councilmember Navarro and Councilmember Albornoz and Chief and the County Executive for helping us to remember the life of Blanca. We will miss her greatly. Thank you all so much.